Welcome back to the M3 podcast. It's Rick and I again over at the office, and we've been struggling to get these done.
Yeah, it's been surprisingly more difficult than it needs to be.
Yeah, we've had a few things going on, and sales office is booming, content going crazy, so a lot of good things happening, but we still make sure that we get these in each week.
We got to get the podcast in. I mean, we have plenty of opportunities around here.
Yeah. So today we are going to cover a couple things via the marketing forefront and some just misconceptions of things that people hear. And ultimately, it'll be 20, 30 minutes that people can hopefully better execute their marketing.
Absolutely. We've got the 5 biggest conspiracies in the marketing world right now, with the first being that social media followers equals success.
That is something I thought for a long time, even early in the marketing days. I was like, well, it's going to correlate when we get more followers. It's just ultimately we're going to make more money. And I definitely figured out as we progress it's not the case. I've had people come to us that have 2 million social followers that still haven't figured out how to monetize any part of it. I have a buddy that gets, he's on average like 2 to 6 million views like a week via a social platform. Doesn't generate much because it also depends on the platform too, that where you're getting views at. And I definitely live in the world, and I think a lot of the business owners that we surround ourselves with rely very heavily on the paid ad world. The organic's great. You can get a lot of views. It does help build brand recognition. A lot of positives do come from it. But in business, you also have to generate the revenue side too. So followers, I don't believe always equal revenue and dollars and cents. But I think we live in a world now that people just see all these famous YouTubers and these Instagram models and things like that with all these followers, and they think that all their money comes from that. But that's my take on it. It's what's your thought process on it?
Yeah, I would totally agree. Like if you have a social media page and maybe you do have for your business and maybe it does have 10,000 followers, but for whatever reason, those aren't people that are actually local here in Kansas City, and maybe you're selling tacos. And then it means that those 10,000 followers that you have all across the U.S. aren't super helpful. Now, if you have some type of like digital product and then location doesn't matter, that's different. But just looking at the number of followers alone doesn't really tell the full story.
Yeah, that's I used to watch follower count a lot. I've kind of gotten to where I don't pay attention to it as much because there's a lot of things that directly correlate, I think, more to the dollars and cents of the company. But it is, I do find it to be social proof that if there are a lot of people following what you're putting out there, that you are proofing that, hey, people are liking what I'm putting out there. It's either educational or entertaining. So I do think there's a point to that you have to be social proofing what you put out there. That if you're putting stuff out there and it gets no views and nobody likes it and you keep doing the same thing over and over and over, I think that's where some of the misconception of just post a ton, like I think that's one of my biggest pet peeves is that's not a marketing strategy.
Just straight volume.
Yeah. And there's some people that they're like, we've had people reach out to us that they're like, well, I post 10 times a day. And I'm pulling up, I'm like, they do like 10 5-minute lives every day that have no views. And I'm like, I went to some conference thing and they just told us to post way more. And I'm like,
we've been posting way more.
Yeah. There still has to be context behind what you're doing and then social proofing it to see if it's working. So
I like it. Conspiracy number 2, boosting posts is real advertising.
I'm not going to say boosting doesn't work. And that's what I think there's a lot of marketing companies that are going to be so anti-boosting. They're going to say that no way does that work. I think it's better than nothing. So, but boosting a post, you really have no control over what you're doing with it. The levels of meta, once again, you have Facebook, Instagram, which are front side of meta. That's what everyone operates on every day. You have Business Suite, which is a more user-friendly way for business owners to get into the ad forefront, schedule posting, things like that. But then Business Manager's the backside that you can really get very heavy into building out where your ads are going. You can upload your own first-party data. You can do a lot more. You can start retargeting. You can retarget video viewers. That's where you're plugging in your pixel. There's just so much that goes on behind, which the wild thing is when MMG started, I just boosted posts. Like I didn't even know Business Manager existed. But it was the companies I was taking on, it was better than nothing that they were doing before. I did prioritize the content a lot. So if you're prioritizing your content does well, boosting is just, it's going to show it to more people than what you're doing. And if you're just looking to target 5 miles around you and you don't really have a marketing game plan or anything else and you just want to be in front of some more people, then it will do that. But that also, once again, isn't a long-term marketing strategy. So you have Facebook, you have Instagram, and of course, when you think of boosting, you think of Facebook. But you also have LinkedIn, you have YouTube, you have TikTok now. You have so many other platforms. You have Google. What are you doing on the Google forefront? What are you doing all the way across? What's your website look like? Is your website optimized? What's the full digital footprint of your company looking like? Posting something on Facebook and boosting it is not a marketing strategy. But I'll say that's better than zero.
It is better than zero. Just on the same note that when we come in and do social media content and advertising for a company, that looks a lot different than maybe just somebody running around with a cell phone. It's like, they're on the same track, but one gets a lot further down that road. Yeah.
And I think to the content side that there's a lot of people who have done really well on phones. I'm not discounting content on a phone. But it's also, there's just levels of the game. And there's levels of the game in marketing. There's companies out there that sell $500 product every month. And I don't want to be involved in that. No true established marketing agency can really sell that price tag anymore because they can't deliver a great product and service. And that's where the levels of content come, is you can shoot iPhone videos. And I will say phones have came a long way.
They definitely have.
But then there's also the just high quality level that you can pull from a camera that ultimately it's hard to fully recognize the quality level difference on a phone. And I used to not even really understand it via cameras, what a camera was fully capable of. But now it's when I take these high-end photos on a camera or high-end video. I was in Spain and there's 12 of us and everyone has their phones out. I have a camera. Then afterwards they're like, why do your photos look so much better than all the rest? Why does your video look so much better? I'm like, once again, there's levels to it. So gives you a lot more control over what you're doing.
It definitely does. And that kind of leads into conspiracy number 3, which is you can do it all yourself.
Yeah, this is probably the one we run into the most. And I'm going to do this as like a 2-parter because I think there's the side of you can do it all yourself. Early CEOs want to be the best at everything that they do. Early entrepreneurs, business owners, they're the best salesperson, they're the best marketer, they're the best accountant, they're the best operations person, they're the best at everything. And when you're doing your marketing strategy and you're doing your marketing side of things, it takes 2 sides of the brain that have to coexist all the time. That you have to have the very data-driven, analytical ad forefronted side of the brain to run. And then you have to have the side of the brain that's going to be your creative, come up with these creative ideas, execute. Also, it's really hard if you're going to be the one on camera to also be the one filming it, kind of tricky. And then you have to try to be a great editor. I'm gonna say editing, the learning curve of that is not an easy learning curve. So there's just so much that goes into it. And I think that one side is the business owner that's out there that's trying to do all those things themselves, and they just run themselves into the dirt. And then they wonder why they can't scale. And they're not an expert in that. They think they're an expert in it. I mean, we've sat with so many business owners, and they think because they can take good photos that they're all of a sudden like a world-class marketer. And then you start breaking down like, hey, what's your cost of acquisition? One, like, what's that? Like, okay, what's your ad budget look like? I'm running $5 a day. Like, you don't have enough to even move the needle. Like, so it's that side of it. And then you have the side of it that there's businesses that have a single in-house marketing person, that there's a lot of things that fall under the umbrella of marketing that we're going to say, okay, hey, we have events. I feel like events always fall under the marketing person at a company. That's not an easy task load for a lot of these people. And then some of these clients will have conventions, and they'll have t-shirt designs, and they'll have full control over all the apparel and print, and they're just getting stuff thrown at them left and right. And then it typically ends up in a position where CEOs are upset with their marketing person. Why? Because they give them 4,000 tasks and they can't handle it all.
And they have no context as to what type of workload that is.
Yeah. And I think that's a fault to the business owner for not outlining what that position looks like, because we have a lot of clients that we work with that have in-house marketing teams, like not one person, but multiples in-house that we work with, that they don't have the video work. They don't have the editors on staff. They don't have the photographers on staff. They don't have the ad specialists. They don't have all these different people, that they have all these conventions that they're going to, or different trade shows. They have the events that they're doing. They have all these different things that have to be done. And once they alleviate the day-to-day digital tasks that are having to be done, are they responding to their Google reviews? Have they kept up with their website? Like, I mean, we have set people that just design and develop websites that have no earthly idea how to operate a camera. But it's like, we have set people that just do video on cameras. We have people that just do photos. We have people that just work on Google. We have people that just work on Meta. Like, why would you pay one person to be a jack of all trades, master of none? Or you can spend similar money and hire a team of people that can highly execute every single aspect of it. And you don't have employment tax on it, and you don't have to worry about them showing up. And like,
it kind of starts to be a little bit of a no-brainer at some point.
But I think that there is a large misconception in the marketing world that just, I can do it all. And I was wildly guilty of it for quite some time.
Yeah, I don't think it just applies to the marketing world. I think it's the business world altogether.
Yeah, it's I think it's the accounting side of things. Like, I never knew how much went into that side. I'm like, really, how could there be that much accounting staff? But then when you're running balance sheets and you're running P&Ls and you're running all these different things all the time and you're going over them, and then I'm like, I'm on Dre all the time about getting these things done. And then he's like, dude, I need help. And then so now we have fractional CFOs under him that are helping him out with what he's doing. And it's just like the workload becomes very, very heavy. And the marketing is one thing that most companies will silo and just throw anything they don't know where it goes just onto the marketing person. They get pissed.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of that illusion, especially when businesses are just getting started, because there's not a ton of workload, and you sort of are in a position where a lot of times you have to wear some multiple hats. But then it's as you start to get busier and those demands continue to rise, that's where people get caught, where now it's not a great situation to be wearing all those hats.
Yeah, and to the business owner out there are a lot of people that think that you have to spend every waking moment of your time executing some sort of task. At least that's how I felt. I felt that I had to be doing something. I had to be working to outwork the next person. And I ultimately figured out I can work really hard. I just need to point my efforts in the right direction, because there was a lot of things that I was working really hard on, but I just wasn't effectively moving the needle forward because I was focused on the wrong things. That we have editors that put things together that I mean, I can go home and be busy all night and edit and be on the grind and post about it and everything else. Like, I'm just out here out grinding everybody. And like, I used to think that was the flex, but now we have editors that will put stuff together that when I get it over, I'm like, I had all week long and not get that done. Still not even hit that mark. Like, so you get to a spot that you start understanding that people can execute something at a level so high that with all of your tasks, there's no way that you can execute all your tasks plus execute that task at the level that someone's being paid to do it at. So that's what we've had. So many business owners are like, well, I'm going to try it myself. I'm like, they Mickey Mouse something together. 6 months. The crazy thing too is, like, most of the time we tell business owners what they need to be doing. Like, I want people to win. Like, I just want people to win. I'll tell a business owner, like, hey, sit down, figure out your strategy, figure out where you want to be in 12 months, reverse engineer it back. What do you need to do monthly? What do you need to do weekly? What do you need to do every day? Look at what does that look like. Now build your marketing strategy based off of that, of what needs to be executed all the time. Figure out what that number cost is. If you need to acquire new business or if you need to acquire new employment, look at those things, build it out, and then have a roadmap to where you're going. We have that exact conversation, and then 6 months later, we'll be sent with a business owner like, dude, I can't figure out the marketing. I need help, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, great, where's your roadmap? Where are we going? And they're like, yeah, I never did that. And I'm just like, I think that's the position just in the world that I used to think that if people had the knowledge, that meant that they would do it. It's not the case. You can give somebody all the knowledge. That doesn't mean they're going to do it.
Yeah, you still got to be able to execute it and be accountable to the plan.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Conspiracy number 4. SEO is dead. It's all about social media now.
So, we're very dominant in the social media space, but I'm not going to say SEO is dead. I'm going to say SEO has shifted a lot and changed. I think we've seen it over a lot of accounts. I think SEO, to execute it well, the super cheap price tag is dead. So I think that's the misconception, is everyone thinks that I'm going to get SEO done for $300. I'm talking monthly. That world is dead. Like, if you're not finding anybody to execute your SEO at $300 a month, it's worth a shit. And there's also just a lot of other directions of where people are searching companies now. Is Google still work? 100%. But the ranking, though, SEO used to be this kind of, I want to say there was a low level of education as like the whole market. And I feel like the market got so educated on it so quick that everyone went in it on it. And when everyone started doing it, it was really hard to be different. And the other thing too is SEO is just making it to where you just pop up into search and you're just higher in the search. If you have a leaky toilet at home, that's going to help. If your toilet's overflowing and somebody searches like, hey, plumber near me, and that's going to help. I also see building a brand on social, telling your story, making you a real person. I feel that there's a bigger value point in that because, I mean, if you just take our industry alone, how much have we focused on our SEO over the years?
Almost nothing.
Almost none. We have focused fully after our social movement, and I mean, we are sweeping the floor with every marketing company around, minus a couple. There are a couple marketing companies doing really well around here that are very dominant on social forefront, that are dominant in their right respected areas. But the crazy thing to SEO too is you work on it and then you just wait and you just like fingers crossed and you hope that people are searching. You're not creating any like direct intent on like what you have. You're just waiting. Like, you're sitting at home and I'm just like, I hope Rick searches that he needs social media marketing.
I hope there's somebody out there today.
Yeah. So it's like, I'm not patient enough to be just the wait around guy. So you look at a set market and you're like, okay, hey, I'm going after these key terms that I'm going to try to build all my SEO around. And there's 15 other companies around there doing the same thing. So we're fighting every single month trying to get this top 3 positions and rank for these words. When social side, I mean, you're getting 30 seconds of their time on a video that they willingly gave you. Then you can retarget them, and then you bring that sleeping buyer out. Once you bring that sleeping buyer out, they're not shopping five other places. So most of the time when we have clientele walking in, they've only came to one marketing place. But they were able to sell down funnel via our social pages that they could end up listening to this podcast. They'd be like, hey, you know what? I like these guys. They're like, hey, I really don't like these people. Great. One of the two. Like, I'm fine with it. Like, we don't need to own the whole market. But that ability of what you can do on the social forefront, but it's, once again, like, SEO is still a tool to use. Like, I'm not saying it's not a tool. Like, we sell a ton of it. I think, personally, I like the movement of what happens on social. But I think if you pair it all together, there's a great recipe for it all to work. And now we have AI search coming in. That, I mean, people are getting to where they can't wipe their ass without asking ChatGPT. Like, we're moving into a weird space.
Things are going to get weird. Things are definitely going to get weird. We were talking about AI a couple episodes ago, and I mean, who knows how much it's progressed even just since that episode. It's kind of crazy.
How many things I'm using that wasn't using at that episode.
Yeah, and it's like you almost couldn't picture your life without it. Sort of, you just adapt so fast, and I think people are going to get used to it, and it's going to be tough for them to function without it.
Yeah, and Madison didn't start using it till like a month ago, and she's been like the anti-AI train for so long, and she just started using it, not from a work standpoint at all, but from like a food standpoint. She loves it for searching restaurants and stuff. Just loves it. And and it'll like recommend food at different places, like based off like people's reviews. Like, you should look at, these are like the 3 most sought after items on the menu, and it's like just so much stuff. Like, it could tell you like, hey, I want to go to a restaurant, Kansas City, that has opened in the last 6 months that hits a higher like luxury feel and price point, and it'll like kick out stuff. I'm like, have you heard of that place? And then we're at this restaurant. I'm like, this place is cool. Like,
yeah, and if you've like given it the input, it knows what you like and what you liked about the last restaurant it recommended, and it's going to continue to learn from that.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
The last conspiracy for today, though: marketing should pay off instantly.
I think not. Take it out of just being marketing, but humans are so wired for a quick win, and I truly believe that one of the big factors from the big winners in business to the small winners in business is watching a further time horizon. That goes with marketing, that goes with developing your SOPs, that goes with just any department that you're going to run. That sales department, you plug in a sales department, do you come in the next day and flip shit if they don't have 10 deals closed? So why is it different with marketing? And it's something that you're always in. There is a world, though, that like we sell a lot of LSAs. Like, when you're selling your local service ads, that is something that you plug it in and it just generates. Like, I will say that comes pretty quick, but the caveat to that too is there's a lot of the client forefront that we have to keep an eye on, because business is ranked on Google, and if they're not answering their phone, they're not doing what they're supposed to, then their leads will dip off. So making sure that their account's ranking the way it's supposed to. But then once again, that's not building a brand, though. So if you turn on your local service ads and it's generating 30 leads a month, and you know that it's generating 30 leads a month, that's a faucet that's on, but the day that you stop giving it money, it does nothing. Like, it turns off and you have 0 leads the next month. I never wanted a company that was leveraged that hard to just one thing. I wanted to diversify what we did. So what I do like about the social side, even though it is a long play organically, it's something that brand recognition, how often do we go places and they know us from taco reviews?
It's all the time.
It's everywhere. Like, it is wild that every single time, like weekend, any place I go, people are asking about tacos. Like, kind of annoying sometimes, but it's also like, it solidifies that the marketing is working, that the brand recognition is out there.
But that did not happen, and it would not happen with one taco review.
It was probably like, before I ever even got recognized, it was 50 taco reviews.
At least. We were a year in.
Like, we're a year in plus until we went anywhere and got recognized for it. And now it's like, I'll get 10 to 15 a week. But it's just crazy if you stay the course and you see those things happening. So that instant gratification is what the death is to most business owners, is if they don't get instant gratification, then they change course. So if you were to every single time, like if you were to go sail the sea, like whenever Christopher Columbus came over, you think the second, if he saw 3 days of water, then he's like, oh, turn it back.
Let's try a different direction.
Yeah. Like, I mean, it's crazy to think about how fast people will just shift everything. That if it was that easy, then everyone would be winning huge. The few people that are winning big, they've trusted the process for a while. They've went through with something for a while. It wasn't like, yeah, man, I turned this shit on like last week and it is just bonkers. Like, and the hard thing is with local service ads, even in your Google ad forefront, is you do reach like a market cap where there's only going to be so many clients in market in a set area. So you hit a spot of ad spend that's a diminishing return that you may hit where $15,000 a month in your ads is where you get this amount of leads, and then you could spend $20,000 a month in ads next month and get the same amount of leads. That 15 is like that happy median that you're going to hit your max amount of leads. But there's not more customers in market in those set areas. Social can then wake those buyers, and depending on what the business is, but you're priming those buyers before they come your way. That we have people that come and onboard that have followed us for 2, 3, 4 years. I just knew when I was going to get marketing, I was coming to you guys.
Yeah, we hear that all the time, and it's like you can have an idea of what your average deal cycle is going to be, or how long before first contact until somebody's actually coming in the door. But I mean, that's just an average. There's going to be some people that are following you, just like you said, for years before they reach out. Yeah, and we get that all the time.
If we actually like hard sat down and looked at, like, we have a lot of short time cycle like to close. If we looked over since we've been open, there's a lot that are probably 6 to 12 months that they have followed us and already been in that system in the funnel for that long until they pulled the trigger. Like, and that number keeps compounding. Like, the number of that times that happens now in a month to a year ago, like a year ago, if we got one, we're like, whoa.
You've been following us for how long?
Yeah. And now it's like, it's pretty common where we'll be at the sales office, we'll hear a couple times a week. But I sit there and think about, what does that look like in another 2 years? When our momentum, like when you hit that hockey stick, the momentum is happening so much quicker now, where we onboard more now in a week than what took us to figure out how to do in the first 12 months of being open. And we do it with ease. Like, I really look back and I have no idea how we like onboarded accounts. I really have no idea how we did like any of what we did. But it was being patient, figuring out, letting things play out, stay the course of what we're doing. I mean, how many podcasts is this?
About 190 now.
Yeah. And there's days that like they'll go out and we'll like look at our downloads and stuff for a week. I'm like, well, that wasn't a great podcast. And yeah, we may have a light week, but then we'll be sitting somewhere and somebody will come in. They're like, hey, I really need to hear what you guys were talking about on X, Y, and Z. I was like, holy shit. I'm like, maybe they did. The right person listened to it. And I think that's where you go back to the follower count. There's a lot of people that want the followers. They want crazy views. They want all that stuff for ultimately just an ego to themselves. Like, I look at the marketers that all they try to sell is views. Like, it's just an ego trip. It's the easiest thing to sell to business owners. There's so many business owners out there that just ego. They just want views. They don't care if it's out of like India or China or whatever. There's business owners that we've sat with. They literally say like, I want a bunch of views and I'm okay if you just buy the views. I'm like, I'm not doing that. But just trusting the process and doing it. So there is some marketing that hits overnight. There's 1 in 100, 1 in 1,000. Sometimes they just hit, but then majority of the time it takes a while. But
you got to play the long game.
Yep.
I like it. I like this this style of episode as well.
I do too. I think the last few we haven't really like been super marketing heavy, but no, I could talk about this stuff all day, every day. Like Xavier sitting in there. I don't even know how long this one's been. How long are we at? We're already at 30 minutes.
That's perfect.
Fast. Yeah. Covered our, what were they, 5 marketing conspiracies?
The 5 biggest ones.
Yep. One of these days we're going to have to throw Dre on here with his actually like real life conspiracies, but that'll be
not today though.
Not today. No. We'll have to put like a warning disclosure on that one before people watch it. But no. Enjoyed it as always.
Likewise.
Any final thoughts?
That's it.
Go kill your marketing. Hopefully you got something from this. Like, subscribe, follow. But that's the M3 podcast. Peace. See that?
Little call to action.
Little call to action.
How about it?
Thanks for listening to the M3 Podcast. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. Want to learn more? Check us out on Instagram at Moss Marketing Group, on Facebook at Moss Marketing 58, or on our website at mossmarketinggroup.com.